Hello, I am Alexi Pukanikin, and we're ballin' today, tomorrow, and most definitely yesterday. At what cost? At what cost? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Miami Mayhem. Welcome back to, here's the thing. The European mind cannot comprehend, a Formula One race in the parking lot of a football field. But the American mind cannot comprehend the fact that we had a 4-day week and then now all of a sudden we have a 3-day work week. And then we just have a 4-day weekend because that's just how we like to roll out here in the EU. That's right, buddy. We're having a great time. We're having a fantastic time. I bet the Formula One boys are feeling the same way. They took a little week break, week and a half break, and now we go back to Miami once again. And great that we can get this one out the way. And really, if you think about it, there's 0 sense in this Miami Grand Prix. I would almost argue there's more sense in having it in Las Vegas. Because I get at least it's just so much money involved, right? And it's at least you guys have the race on Saturday night in Las Vegas. Here in Miami Grand Prix, we're still having it Sunday. The track is still, it's what it is. And it's so in between. It's like we already have Austin. We already have Las Vegas, right? I know that Miami was before Las Vegas. Oh, okay, I get it. But it's the fact that we are, we were in Asia, right? And then we moved to the Middle East. And then really right now we should just be going through Europe. But what F1 thinks is smart is that we just real quick, let's just go to Miami, right? Let's just get this BBL energy out of the way, right? And then so we can just go back to Europe, eat bread that doesn't make you that much fatter, right? It doesn't destroy your whole body if you just eat some bread, right? Miami, they don't, obviously bread is part of it, getting that bread, because it's like hustlers mentality out there in Miami. But also, right, there's a lot of that, Colombian flour, if you know what I'm saying, dude. They got, so in that way, that's like the only thing that makes sense about this Miami Grand Prix. It's like people are, sped up, we're really like rock and roll there. And I guess Formula One still got a little bit of that rock and roll. But I know it's one of those races that, if you look at the FIA president, he has to do his job at Miami. But it's not like he really like morally enjoys Miami. You get what I'm saying? And I think this is where a lot of drivers are also in between things when it comes to Miami, right? In one hand, like, okay, a little detour to, the world tour that we were doing, but, a little sunshine, a little bit of these American beauties, right? They're not against that. But then it's the other half might just be like, this is some horse shit. We really got to be here. We got to race in the parking lot of Hard Rock Stadium. Is that what Formula One is? With these fake ass yachts? Like they're trying to make it like this track is like by the water, which it isn't at all. It's nowhere near the fucking water, right? We're in the fucking parking lot of it. And here's the thing, right? There's going to be Formula One drivers pulling up to the, the stadium or the track, right? And there's going to be cops around the vicinity of the place. Watch one of these cops arrest one of these Formula One drivers just like they did to Tyreek Hill and then this Formula One driver calls it quits or has to switch teams. Like this is all the things that can go wrong in Miami. All right, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. There's a sprint weekend this weekend as well. A lot can go wrong. All right, only a few things can go right. Really, in my eyes, there's only a few things that can go correct that can make me real happy. But really, yes, that's the conclusion we're going to draw. Miami, thank God it's here because we can get this out of the way. And then we have some awesome tracks later this month. We're going to take a break next weekend, but then we go to Imola, Monaco, and where is it? I think Spain when we switch from May to June. So it's beautiful. Beautiful. I'm sure Miami is going to have a lot of hotties with a body, lots of hotties, lots of babes out there. So, maybe my concentration will be towards that, focus on the positive, right? Bad track, good tits. You got to look at the positives. Last year, Lando Norris won his first Grand Prix in Formula One in Miami, and I still am fully convinced that the BBLs give this guy like extra pace. So going into the Miami race weekend, I think Norris is the favorite to have the fastest pace. I think like that's a good starting ground, right? Of course, from my perspective, Oscar Piastri has all the momentum right now. All the momentum is on Oscar Piastri's side, all right? Which we ideally want to keep. Ideally, we want this to stay on the wall for the rest of the year, right? But of course, we're dealing with BBLs here, so Lando Norris might be freaking Michael Schumacher God tier, right? Ayrton Senna, right? When there's BBLs around, Lando Norris genuinely turns into fucking 80s Ayrton Senna, right? 90s Senna, whatever you want to call it, right? Early 2000s Schumacher, whatever you want to. The prime is when Lando Norris is in the line of BBLs, and it's just a lot of options. I'm sure he's having a lot of fun. I'm sure Oscar Piastri's having a lot of fun too, taking some sun, with the girl out in the sun, catch a tan. I'm sure all drivers are kind of treating this race weekend the way I treat it. It's just, okay, let's just get this out of the way, right? We're going back to Europe right away, and we're going to stay there for a while. So this is merely just a quick pop-up detour that we gotta, and there's a sprint race weekend, like I said. So we have a sprint race. We have sprint qualifying already on Friday. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. As much as I'd want to be here and say, like, you know what? Now we finally look at Ferrari and what they are up to. Let's check in with Ferrari. Just, I don't know. They're doing white and red instead of red and white. I don't know if they're gonna do a special livery for Monaco. I mean, honestly, the white on red, I know Leclerc is pissed. He's going like, why couldn't we do this for Monaco? These are like my almost like a home crowd colors. Instead, we're doing it for Miami, dude, because Miami is that special. Seriously, Miami is that special, bro. So who knows? Maybe Lewis Hamilton does it again. Maybe Lewis Hamilton cannot win a race on Sunday, but damn it, he can win a sprint race on Saturday. Who knows? I honestly think, this sprint race, let's just get some cars crashing into each other just to raise the tension, right? Because obviously no one really wants to do anything risky for sprint race. You don't want to damage your actual race. I don't know. Just because this Miami Grand Prix is kind of in between things as well as just kind of thrown in there, I don't know. I think maybe some of these teams have the mentality of whatever. Let's take a few risks. I at least hope that Ferrari's, taking that mentality, because let's just be real. I don't think there's been any fucking major upgrades the last 2 weeks. I mean, I would be very surprised if they drop a crazy upgrade, within just 1 weekend of, taking a little bit of rest. But who knows? Maybe they actually strategically do a little bit something riskier that, could maybe fight for a win. Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, my hope is dwindling. But, this marks the round 6, which would be after this race weekend. We are a quarter through the F1 season. Sometime around now would be cool if you guys showed that you guys are the real deal. Because of course, Verstappen single-handedly in a Red Bull that, only he can drive, seemingly he can only operate that car. Verstappen's doing some crazy shit, which we will get to, but I just think that right now, Ferrari's got to, show us something, dude. Show us. It's the mentality. It's not about the result, but it's like, what's your approach? What's your attitude? Right? Come on. Show us a little bit of that Italian machismo, mentality, you know what I'm saying? Just go to Miami, cause a little bit of mayhem, Do something spectacular. I really would like that, because right now, of course, it's a McLaren world, but I do think another team that has momentum really on their side right now is my boys Atlassian Williams Racing. Williams Atlassian Racing. I want to shout out that company every time, because of course I wouldn't do that with any other team really, but this is what the few times where a company came in, main sponsors splashed a bunch of cash, and it's working out positively, right? This is exactly what we needed for Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. We needed the bag, right? And the bag has been paying off. Double points finish last time in Saudi Arabia. Very tactical, right? I watched how they did the little Carlos Sainz master plan with the DRS, right? Really good stuff. Both men are slowly finding that real race pace. Alex Albon, we could all agree now that it's kind of a given that he finishes in the points. We could slowly start thinking this way with Carlos Sainz. And now with the momentum behind them, Saudi Arabia double points, let's keep it up. Let's keep up the double points finishes, man. I really do think if they have that teamwork, and I also think that their individual pace is only going upwards, right? And I'm sure the Williams car in itself is only going to get faster. Let's start taking those little baby steps upwards, because like I said, Williams Racing, we're getting a freaking podium this season. All right, it's just a matter of time, but we got to build our way towards it, okay? If Ferrari don't got nothing to show, let's take advantage of it, okay? Slowly but surely. Make sure that we're at least better than the Racing Bulls. Alpine, Aston Martin really been struggling. Haas's, make sure Haas don't pull off some crazy shit. They're going to be technically in home court, US and all that. So, yeah, seriously, Williams being so darn impressive in my eyes. At the start of the season, I did say that they were going to be the number one team I'm rooting for. Thank you for only growing my support this season so far. But like I said, right now, narrative of the moment is Oscar Piastri versus Lando Norris. Lando Norris has the pace in Miami, okay? He has the advantage. However, that's just because all the other seasons we've also been under the impression that overall Lando Norris has the pace above Oscar Piastri. But slowly that narrative is switching sides, and Oscar Piastri really showing that, no, I might possess the fastest race pace, and momentum is at least on my side right now. Oscar Piastri already has 3 Grand Prix wins this season. That is 2 more than any other person who has won a race. That's Lando Norris and Max Verstappen are the only other ones. Real race, at least, not a sprint race. Either Oscar Piastri dominates this weekend and kind of puts like a stamp on like, this is the standard now. I am the man, right? Who's going to be leading the pace week in, week out. Or we're going to get back to the mix. We're going to get back to the mix. We're going to I genuinely think that if Oscar has one of these like actual weekends where he struggles, Lando Norris is clearly faster than him, even Verstappen is giving him problems, then I'm not going to go all Oscar Piastri hype mode for the rest of the season. I'm instead going to be like, great, we're going to have a second version of last season. Shit is crazy, shit is chaotic, shit is wild, right? Anything can happen type of mentality. But as of right now, anything can happen is a lie, all right? Oscar Piastri can happen. That's the fact, okay? That's where the odds are, right? So with that being said, we go to Miami and we have a sprint race first. Sprint quali, sprint race, I'm going to give it to Lando Norris. I have Lando Norris for pole for that one, and I have Lando Norris to win that one. However, by Sunday, and I think this is Oscar Piastri tactics, okay? Oscar Piastri will not take risks and would rather take a P2 behind Lando Norris, or, even a P3 if Verstappen's really on pace. He will take that and be safe with it for the sprint portion of the weekend if it means he can have more improvements and a slight upper hand going into the real quali, the real race. For the real quali. For the pole position. Let me put a little Miami GP, right? Bada bing, bada boom. And like I said, Norris for the sprint portion, but let me only put on the whiteboard the part that counts. Which, I mean, like, let's just be real once again. The fucking race is so goddamn late on Sunday for me. It starts at 11 at night on a Sunday, and I gotta wake up the next day for work at 6. So realistically, if there is a Grand Prix I'm skipping out on this season, it might be this one, especially if I tune in for the sprint. And if my boy ain't up there, then I'm going to, you know what? I'd rather go to sleep, wake up to the good news that Oscar Piastri won. But I do think, because of what I've seen, and because, seriously, again, I do think this man is the man with the least amount of distractions, right? And I do think momentum is almost in a weird way on his side. Like, people are really, like, backing him and backing the fact that Verstappen is getting a very negative narrative which overall I think people are slowly catching up that it's not the fact that he's a bad guy. It's just the fact that the management has been so horrendous that it almost seems like he's the guy who's fucking up the system when the system itself has been fucked, right? So Max Verstappen, right? And I stared at the circuit for as long as I could compared to all the other circuits, the way the fucking turns go, blah, 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 DRS zones, consider all that. I do think Verstappen still got the pole position for this one, all right? It's a fucking sendy track. It's not that technical, right? And even if it is, it's not like, for example, I'm very sure that it's those very slow speed corners where McLaren is like clearly better than the Red Bull, right? And then this is from what I've heard, or what I've read, but I think there's this consensus that the straight line speed isn't crazy on the McLaren. That's why in Saudi Arabia, Verstappen was still somehow able to get that freaking pole position away from Oscar Piastri. I think this is a similar thing. I really do. Just based on the amount of turns and the corners and everything like that, I think Verstappen has a slight upper hand against the McLaren boys, against Norris or Piastri. I have Verstappen scoring the actual pole position on Saturday. And then for the win, Oscar Piastri, tire management god, right? And I do think right now, because of, the tariffs that have been implemented towards the U.S., I think there is going to be a real disruption in the BBL market, especially in Miami. With the NBA playoffs going on as well, there's just too many BBLs that are focused towards that direction. Lando Norris might be going through some struggles with the BBLs with these Miami baddies. Who knows? Please, Lando, this is all just a joke. I love you. But yeah. Yeah, man. Still congratulations to Lando Norris for, pulling probably like 12 baddies within that one race weekend. So, I'm sure he's got hey, dude, even if he doesn't win the race, even if he gets P2, P3, he's gonna, have 4 at the same time. Probably. So, let's just give this one for Oscar Piastri, right? A little bit, he's got the old ball and chain, yeah. I'm going Oscar Piastri for the race win. That's the consensus. But again, like I said, I genuinely think sprint, just because of Lando Norris was very, very clearly fucking crazy fast last year in Miami. I think it's going to help him early on in the weekend, but I do think Oscar Piastri's got that knowledge to be able to catch up and get there on Sunday. So bada bing, bada boom. Maybe we get a little Fernando Alonso points finish as well. Shout out to Fernando Alonso, my favorite rookie in Formula One. But yeah, that's Miami, dude. I can't believe I did still 20 something minutes about one race weekend with nothing to recap. But we have a great month of Formula One. We have a triple header coming up as well, which we will completely do a little segment on next week or maybe the week after. But as of right now, that's about that. NBA playoffs going on right now. It's fucking amazing. I sacrificed some sleep for Sunday, Monday night. Stayed up because I had to watch a little bit of Anthony Edwards versus LeBron James. Luka Doncic, in the Lakers jersey and all that stuff. What else did I watch? I watched Pistons versus This is how bad I am at this shit, really. The NBA teams. Fuck. Who did the Pistons play? Damn it. But Pistons, they had a great game against the Knicks. The game 3 was actually pretty fucking fantastic. But game 4, sorry. That was a close game. I mean, the Lakers versus Timberwolves game was actually a close one as well. It's been fantastic. I think I got to try to catch Nuggets Clippers. They're tied up 2-2 game 5 tomorrow morning. I mean, I could catch the end of it when I wake up tomorrow. Okay, there. That's pretty great. And yeah, NBA playoffs going on right now, which most of the sports world is focused on, which is great. I think it's been real entertaining, other than the fact that, you know, the one NBA team with a Finnish head coach just got fucking swept, got their ass handed to them. So, you know, that's what it is. John Morant bombed. But anyways, sorry, I had to throw such a lame ass joke like that. God, I wish I was a better human. But yeah, we got fucking UFC in Des Moines this weekend. Another fight night. Last weekend we had Kansas City, and this weekend we have Des Moines. We're in Iowa. That's beautiful. We got a banger freaking main event with Corey Sandhagen going against Davison Figueiredo. Corey ranked number 4, Davison ranked number 5 in the bantamweight division. This is probably title challenger matchup. Whoever wins this is probably going to get matched up against Merab or Sugar Sean O'Malley, depending on how that rematch goes. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Corey heavily the favorite right now, which I don't understand, because Davison Figueiredo, I mean, who the hell has gotten rid of that guy ever? Really, it's just that guy's a freaking machine. The Brazilian machine, not the Georgian machine, but seriously a machine in his own way. I guess just because Corey has such a length advantage compared to Davison that he's so heavily favored, but I do think this is as close as of a matchup as it could get at 135, and also still in the top 5 of the division. Kind of crazy. I do hope that Corey Sandhagen gets this, because, I mean, Sugar Sean O'Malley, Corey Sandhagen, that's just the dream bantamweight matchup that you want to see, you know, in terms of like technical striking. But yeah, that's pretty amazing. And we even got a freaking banger co-main event. I think quite a big switch up to, which I do think Corey Sandhagen, Davison Figueiredo, that it's going to be 5 rounds of just standing up and just all out war, just technical striking the whole time. The co-main event, I do think, is going to be kind of the opposite. Way bigger guys, so 185 middleweight division. And we got Bo Nickal going against Renier de Ridder. Renier de Ridder ranked number 13 in the middleweight division. Wait, guys, I'm tripping right now, bro. Wait. So Renier de Ridder, Dutch guy, fought so far twice in the UFC, submitted both his opponents. Great, like, not bad. Finishing rate of 100 in the UFC. And he's ranked number 13 in the middleweight division, while Bo Nickal, Bo has fought in the UFC 4 times and has gotten 2 submissions, 1 TKO, 1 decision, and he's not ranked. What? What in the world is going on with these rankings? Okay, Bo Nickel, probably one of the more hyped up, you know, prospects, especially U.S. prospects. Just like a wrestling sensation, but has fully dedicated himself to MMA. And he looks really good. He looks very powerful. But I mean, this Renier de Ridder guy is also just like a freaking grappling killer. And still Nickel is so heavily favored. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I think this is a very even matchup. I mean, hey, look, listen. If Bo Nickel pulls this off, for number one, if Bo Nickel pulls this off, let's just fully reset the rankings, okay? Because this absolutely does not make sense. And then second of all, I mean, he has to submit. Let's just say this: if Bo Nickel TKOs or KOs Renier de Ridder, I'm still not going to be convinced. I want this to be a high-level grappling match. I want y'all to just be freaking grappling, submitting each other, jiu-jitsuing it up, you know? So that's actually really that's really wonderful. Can you believe that? Can you believe that we have strikers who are fast, light on their feet, for the main event, and for the co-main event, we got some big boys, and they're gonna grapple the whole time. Hopefully, that's actually tremendous. And Des Moines, fucking Jeremy Stephens in there as well, heavy underdog. Who cares? He's gonna pull that off. Put the bank on Jeremy Stephens. When I knock people out, they don't fucking move. It's one of my favorite lines ever. It just sucks that the line after that is so much better. But I mean, that guy is, coked up trying to run for president. And Jeremy Stephens still fighting in the UFC. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is all I really have for this week. Not anything particularly special. Trying to keep myself fucking alive, right? A lot of things, a lot of moving parts in this world, right? A lot of negativity. You got to look at the positives. Look at the positives, okay? Lando Norris is not that down. Look, see, here's the thing, guys. Lando Norris has been on this whole vibe this year where he's just like, dude, could have done better, which is also just like, please, this is a point I wanted to get across. You know how now, after the race, they literally sit the podium guys all in one room, and then they make them watch what happened. They make them watch like highlights of the race that had just happened. They have had no briefings with any PR person. I mean, like maybe a very brief briefing, but they're kind of just like there trying to recover from the physical torment that they just went through, racing the car. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a moment where it's not going to go good. It's going to go sideways. There's going to be a moment soon where you're going to put someone like Oscar Piastri or Max Verstappen. Yes, they show each other a lot of respect, but there's going to be a moment, there's going to be a racing incident where I think this way, and now you're making us watch this controversial moment, so we're forced to comment on it when we're there with the opposition. I really do think that the FIA and again the Formula One media, they're pushing the boundaries of how they can treat these drivers. It's getting ridiculous, guys. The first thing you guys ask when Lando Norris scores a P2 is, "Oh, are you disappointed in your performance today?" He's like, "I got on the podium. I finished like a few seconds. What? I'm gonna fucking go to sleep with like 3 10s tonight. What am I?" But that's the thing. It's just that everyone expects. So then Lando Norris has to go like, "Yeah, not the result I was hoping for." It's like he doesn't care about the. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, like yes, getting might have been better, but like, dude, life is still pretty good for these guys, all right? But you're just trying to point out how shitty and sucky it is when life is pretty great. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the Miami Mayhem this weekend. I certainly will be staying very close to what is going down. Chantel Jeffries, I love you. I can't wait to see you at the Miami Grand Prix one day in the future in person, hopefully. But yeah, shout out to Chantel Jeffries. I just know that she's going to be there. And, that's really the only reason you need to give me for me to stop shitting on the Miami Grand Prix. Actually, I take everything bad that I've said back. I apologize. If you keep on inviting Chantel Jeffries to Austin, to Miami, to Las Vegas, you got no complaints coming from here. Coming from Ballin at what cost with a Rexy Pukanikin. But hey, stay positive out there and stay ballin'. I'll see you guys next week.